Okay, I've lost track of what number of screencast this is, but what we're going to talk about here is identifying the subpoints, the points underneath the main point. The main point comes in um, these first two paragraphs right here. This is what she's trying to do. That and the fact that we know it's an editorial and she's an advocate for consumers. So it's pretty clear that she wants the same rights that they have in Europe under the right to be forgotten laws there. Now, so what are the subpoints involved in this? Well, let's see. And what I did was I simply got good old hypothesis, and here's my notes here. So here, the first point she makes, the first subpoint she makes to support her argument is that this doesn't mean, if there's the right to be forgotten, this doesn't mean that the government is going to be the one deciding this. The private companies that own the search engines will decide it. Okay? Those two are related. How? Well, because the search engines are the best poised place to make the decisions. And because people are afraid of the government is getting involved in censorship. Now, it's still censorship, but in a way that is not so objectionable. And she's going to explain that in a minute. Next point she makes is right here. And that one is that Europe has already done it. What's the big deal? Lots and lots of examples of it. They've done it. Now, an argument she doesn't make is that Google's making money off of your data, so this is the very least they can do. I didn't see that argument in here, but I just thought I'd throw it out there. She did not make that argument. The next place where she talks about, it's right here, and the subpoint here is that Google is perfectly capable of doing this, right? So you might think that it'd be a very difficult thing to do, it'd be administrative headache, but no, they're already doing it, and they're doing a reasonable job of it. And they give two examples in this paragraph of it. So these subpoints are related to the main point, is that, yeah, this is not an impossible thing to do. And they've also granted requests here that do the same thing. So they've been reasonable in denying requests here, and they've been reasonable in honoring requests here. So this is not an impossible task. They give another example here. And what this example is about is this is an example of how unfair Google can be to the unfairly accused crime victim. And that's what happens here. So this subpoint here is that by denying this Florida doctor the right to be forgotten, she's had to pay huge amounts of money to get websites to remove her picture, her mugshot. You know, and when you're a doctor, you don't want to have a mugshot. You don't, under any circumstance. The same is true here with the woman who was a lingerie model. Perfectly acceptable job, but she got fired because of pictures that surfaced on the web. And even though there was no it's not relevant to her job, they still fired her. She wants those taken off so that it doesn't happen again. As we go down through here, here's another one. Another point she makes, subpoint, is that we're already doing this in the U.S. already. Here's an example that from the Fair Credit Reporting Act, where you have the right to be forgotten after 7 years about your credit reports. And again, Google knows exactly what it's doing. It knows how to do this, and it knows how to make reasonable responses. And that's what this is an example of here. Google, another argument the author makes, a subpoint the author makes, is that Google's always talking about being doing no evil and honoring principles of privacy in their terms of service, and allowing users choices over how their information, their personal information, can be used by Google. Their data can be used by Google. So why shouldn't they also be offer the same service for people who legitimately want to have pictures, information taken off the web that's unfair? Another argument that's made is that Google makes money off of online searches. It might be argued that they're making money off of people's misery, clicks for beheadings. It's horrible. And in the last paragraph, the author returns to the purpose. So lots of subpoints here trying to make her point. Every subpoint? No, there are limits to editorials. That's just the way it goes. But, these are the subpoints that the author has broken off of the main point. The subpoints are all intended to support the main argument about the right to be forgotten. Now, if we were doing a critique, we could look and see how well those arguments are made, but we're not. We're just trying to we're going to summarize these subpoints carefully and quickly when we write our summary. So that's pretty much it for this screencast. Even a short article is very, very carefully written like this. There's a lot to it. And, I've mentioned this before. There are an awful lot of links that she has put in the article, and kind of branching out a Christmas tree of places to go to get more information. See you on the next screencast.